Hey everyone, welcome back to the realm. I'm Gina.
I'm Rob.
And Rob's here. Rob is standing in for Rich tonight. Thank you so much for doing that.
You're welcome.
So we're bringing Weird Weekly News. We had an episode, a full episode that was going to come out in place of this, but there was a family emergency for Rich and Brian, so we wish them well. So in the meantime, we decided we just put up an extra episode of Weird Weekly News. So I gave you a rundown, Rob, beforehand, kind of how we do this. Now we have this thing called the Wheel of Names. History would have it that we did rock, paper, scissors to decide. That was during season 1. Season 2, we've upped the game a little bit, all right? Because I was always winning. I was always winning in rock, paper, scissors, and then the tides turned, and I'm a sore loser. So I'm leaving it up to fate. So I found this thing called Wheel of Names. So I'm going to share my screen, okay?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So that everybody can see it. For those of you listening, we'll let you know what happens. For those of you watching, here we go.
I was really hoping this would be something you made with paper and toothpicks.
No, no. Maybe we'll like do this in person sometime, and we'll just have people draw like spaghetti noodles that are broken in various forms. So, because I think we're gonna do a Weird Weekly News with several of us on here pretty soon. But so what I did was I put our name on here a bunch of times, as you can see.
Mm-hmm.
It's evenly on there. The list starts with Gina, ends with Rob. So I didn't cheat. Everything's alternated here. So we're going to give the Wheel of Names a little spin. Let's see what happens. Okay. It's just I'm the winner, but really it's the loser. Okay. I am gonna go first. Let me stop sharing my screen. Rob is probably sighing this huge sigh of relief. I don't gotta go first. Okay. So, for those of you just tuning in, maybe for the first time, this is our Weird Weekly News episode. And what we do is we both come armed with a couple of news stories. And we tell them to each other blindly. We have not yet come with the same articles. That has not happened yet, Rob, just so you know. So, surprisingly enough, has not happened. But,
Okay.
and then we just kind of, each one presents it for a few minutes. We talk about it. We do our little blind reaction and discussion. So I'm going to go first then. Let me pull up my little show notes here. I'm going to start with it's kind of a long one. Okay. So I'm going to start with this one just because I want to make sure we have time for it. So I'm just going to read what I have. So my sources are through a website called Science Times. And then I found another article on MSN. And where I really found this first was on TikTok. And I'm going to play the TikTok video in a few minutes. But first, I'm going to get through the news story. Okay. So the headline is, and you can let me know if you heard about this, but on January 3rd, Russia shot down or shot at supposedly a UFO over their territory. Did you hear about this?
No.
Okay. So on January 3rd, a large ball of light was seen flying over the southern region of Russia. It's called Rostov. So there is cell phone footage that has been shared all over the internet and TikTok. And we aren't just talking like one view of the video. There was literally like multiple views, which I'm going to show you in this TikTok. So it's like one was like security camera footage. It looked like from like maybe a building or apartment building or something like that. And a couple more were cell phones. So there's different styles of videos that had this on video. And it showed this large ball of light flying through the sky. And then basically it was kind of like stopped in its tracks by anti-aircraft defense mechanisms, which we'll get into because I have questions about this whole event. But I'll finish with the story first. The ball of light was apparently traveling at an altitude of 1.5 miles, which to put into perspective, that is only 7,900 feet or 2.4 kilometers for those that are joining us from other areas. So when you think about like 7,900 feet, if you think about any kind of aircraft flying that low, that's really low to the ground. So it took place in Rostov, like I said, which is in an oblast, it's called, but it's also known as a province. That's what I looked up what oblast was because I'm not that educated. But it's a province of Russia located near the Sea of Azov, which is between the Russian and Ukrainian border, coincidentally. So a political leader for this province, Governor Vasily Galuby, he confirmed the event, and he also made a statement on Telegram. If you're unfamiliar with what Telegram is, it's like another kind of social media platform, and you can like chat and do audio calls, and that it's like a whole other like social media network. But anyway, he made a statement through there. And this is what MSN put. This is a direct quote from their article on January 5th. This is what the governor said about it. A small sized object in the shape of a ball had been discovered flying in the wind at an altitude of around 1.5 miles on January 3rd, when the object spotted above the village of Sultan Sala in the region's Mayannikovsky district, Galubly said. He said the decision was made at that time to liquidate it. So I don't know what liquidate means.
Liquefy, maybe? I don't know.
So let's take a look at the footage first really quickly. Okay. So I'm going to pull that up here. All right. Let me share my screen. Share. All right. So hopefully you don't have any trouble hearing this. I'm going to rewind this a little bit. So I'm not going to play his whole video. This is on the TikTok handle MV Paranormal _Chris. Okay. So take a look. See, it's coming across the sky. What we're looking at is a video. For those of you just listening, you can go to our YouTube channel. So this is one view. And that's the point where it was shot. You can hear the wind blowing. Here's another one from a security camera, if you can see it. And that's at the point that it was
over the multiple articles I found over.
So he was looking up some of these articles. Like I see the article that's listed here on the screen, and I actually tried to like use those exact words to find the article, and I was unable to find it. They even spelled defenses wrong, so I'm not sure like where that article came from, or maybe it's just translated from another country. But let me just roll it back again, and I'll be quiet so you can listen to it here. Let's watch it one more time. So as you can see, you can see at the point, and you can even hear like where it was like slammed into with the missiles or whatever, and see where it's kind of like stops in the sky. So we're going to talk about what you think about the video here in a minute, but I'll finish with this. It says one source I found on YouTube had a headline stating that Moscow is claiming that the Ukrainian drone, however, that it was a Ukrainian drone. Okay, so Moscow is claiming that that's what it was. This is according to one news source. When I didn't see anything else confirming that headline, like I tried to look for that headline or I tried to look for that quote from Moscow on many different places and I couldn't find it. But at this point, I have to ask myself, number one, how fast can military drones fly? Like if they really think it's a drone, because that ball of light was going pretty fast. I was really surprised by what I found. I learned that drones, there's one that's designed by Lockheed Martin. It can fly at 4,800 miles per hour.
That's fast.
That's really fast. I also found out that drones can fly up to 60,000 feet in the air and have a range of 12,000 nautical miles between itself and where it's being controlled from. Again, I had no idea. And they can remain in the air doing their mission for up to 34 hours, like without, have full battery or full I guess operations for 34 hours. So I'm not turning this into a military thing, but I was really surprised. Like as far as the drone thing goes, I just wanted to know, I had those questions about drones. But from multiple news sources, they actually stated that Russia claims to have shot down a UFO. So I'm not sure what to believe in that situation. But after the UFO was shot, apparently there were shells found in the region from the anti-aircraft batteries. That's what they're called. Didn't know that either. Which anti-aircraft batteries are basically a bunch of guns kind of put together on the machine. They can either be like kind of on a mobile unit like a tank, or they can be stationary, like on something that rotates around. But I don't know like how they work, like if they're programmed by some kind of AI to detect something like, hey, if it falls in these parameters, just automatically shoot. Or if obviously there's people who are constantly watching the sky and at a moment's notice, like they're able to get these things online, get them, aimed in the right direction and fire in a moment's notice. Because I'm thinking in my head, like if you watch that video, that ball of light's going through the sky super fast. Like I guess I didn't think about the anti-aircraft defense mechanisms that are in place that can react to something going that fast in the sky. So I don't know, like, did it disintegrate if it was a UFO? Like, did it just go back to where it was? Nobody talked about finding any kind of wreckage or anything. So what do you think?
I was wondering, how many feet did you say it was above the ground?
1.5 miles, which was 7,900 feet, 7,920 feet, or 2.4 kilometers. So that's how high they said in the sky that it was.
Okay, because yes, okay. I thought you were saying 700 feet. My bad. So that's why I looked it up, and I'm like, yeah, it's like 7,000 feet. Nonetheless, I would assume, and I don't know how Russia operates because they operate completely different, that most anti-aircraft missiles would be sent. Like somebody's operating it, and you have to get the okay to fire. But who knows how Russia operates? So I when I watch that video and I see the light, and you can see where it gets hit, and then we don't know what happens to it afterwards. I'm always going to be under the impression that it's really hard to shoot down a UFO, even if you hit it.
Right.
So
like I feel like, did it just disappear and go back to its homeland?
Well, I looked it up, and that's how that video came up, and I didn't mean to disturb it, but there's actually a lot of information. Some of it's only, when did you say, January 3rd?
Yep.
Yeah, that has come up. Most of it is videos, and nobody has any different information.
Right. It's
Now,
very
I've watched a lot of UFO videos. I love the UFO whole field of ufology, where a lot of times during war times they claim to see a lot of UFOs. So I don't think it's ball lightning, whatever that is. And a drone, you don't want to see a drone. Okay, it's got an mission to kill something, or spy on something. So they're not going to put a light on it saying, "Here I am." At the same time, I always wonder, why do UFOs fly with lights on? I mean, they're not regulated to have lights on. So
right, like
it often made me wonder that too. Like, why would they? But it also, I mean, I've never witnessed a meteor, but I've seen a lot of video footage of a meteor, and it doesn't last very long.
Right.
Even at some of the brightest ones, just they don't last very long before they disintegrate and whatnot. And if they shot it, I don't think that they're that good that they would have shot a meteor.
Well, right, because what I'm saying is, like, if you can hear, like, when the missiles are shot, you can hear it make contact with something. And like some different articles that I read was people like reported the loud bang, their building shaking or their house shaking. And like you said, like unless there's some intergalactic federation that we don't know about, which I hope there is, I hope it's that cool. That does regulate UFO lights that we don't know about. I don't know. But what I found interesting, and I'll just say this last piece to my news article, just because we're giving people the news, was that there's quite a few interviews that you can find where even some U.S. military members, like ex-U.S. military members who were, either flew aircraft or, were involved some way, they reported seeing, there was very similar reports of reporting the same kind of UFOs where it's like in this orb of light that travels at a fast speed, but they actually said it's like a cube that's like encapsulated in this ball of light. So I don't know. I found it interesting. We are going to do a really great episode on UFOs in next season for sure.
They're all great.
Because of all the exciting things that we have coming up on the podcast for next season. But anyway, I just thought that was a cool news story for the day. So there you have it, your UFO news for the day. What do you have?
Well, I do want to say that when I was looking for articles today, I did come across an article about air pilots posting as a collective of video UFO footage taken from jet pilots as they were flying, not just commercial as well as military, and they're all balls of light. Nobody has a saucer shaped anything. So here is what I have. I have this unfortunate poor fellow who is in great condition. A Cape Cod diver was just swallowed and spit out by a humpback whale.
Oh my God. I think I heard of, did this happen like a while ago?
This is reported, happened in June.
Okay.
And I believe it was a year ago, but this article came up as something rather current. And I found it to be interesting because not only was this guy, he swallowed out, he was basically unscathed. He was in there for 30 to 40 seconds. He was in there long enough too, because you always have to think when you're in that situation, 30 to 40 seconds is just going to be the longest time ever when you realized that you're in the mouth of a whale. Because at first, he didn't even know what happened. He thought maybe that he had been bit by a shark.
Oh,
all of a sudden I felt, this is his quote, all of a sudden I felt this huge shove, and the next thing I knew, it was completely dark. I didn't know if I had been bit by a shark, and I felt around, I realized there was no teeth, and I felt really no great pain. That's his quote, so I know it's kind of not proper English. So he went through the whole, like, what's going to happen to my kids and what's going to happen to my wife. Right. It also doesn't really seem to mention, like, what exactly he was doing. This is Michael Packard.
Okay.
And one of the more, it's a picture of him, it's a really nice picture of him holding a humongous lobster. But Michael Packard also survived a plane crash that left him stranded in the Costa Rican jungle for days. He's had encounters with great white sharks and nearly getting lost in the open ocean. So he's got a weird cloud of bad luck, but he's always going to have a really good drinking story.
Right. Okay. Well, okay. If he were a cat, he should start watching his back at this point, because it's like he's like approaching 9 real soon.
Yes. The witness from his boat saw him come flying out of the water feet first with his flippers on and back in the water. And I don't want to laugh at this guy's misfortune, but in my head, this is very funny looking, as though at that time I'm sure it was very serious, because the guy on the boat didn't know that he had gotten swallowed by a whale at this time.
Oh my God. And this happened in Cape Cod, you said?
That's correct.
It's amazing. So like, if you have some pictures, you're gonna have to like maybe post it to the Facebook page for
there's no pictures of this. There's pictures of him and a picture of him holding a lobster. and it is a lengthy article.
Yeah. Well, we'll post the link to the article. As with anything, we always we'll tell you news that's old, new, whatever, but we will always have links to all of our research so that you guys can take a look at that. So in the show notes, wherever you get this podcast, whether you're listening to it on your phone or watching it on YouTube, you'll be able to access the information we have it, and we'll be posting on our Facebook page. Right. That was a good one. I see, like, for your very first episode of Weird Weekly News, that was pretty stellar. So
poor lobster diver getting swallowed by a whale, but he lived. And honestly, it's like, do I want that to happen to me? But I do want that story to be able to share with people.
Right.
One time I crashed a plane, and one time I got swallowed by a whale, and then one time I fought sharks. Reminds me of that guy in Jaws, the drunk guy.
I don't remember Jaws. I know I saw it, but I don't remember enough about Jaws. But I do people like that. You have to imagine, like, oh my God, what kind of like golden child life do you have to survive all that weird shit? I don't know, but anyway, that was good. I liked it. So my next story. There was quite a few places that I could pull this from, but again, I'm going to revert back to TikTok. The idea came to me from TikTok, where somebody
too much time on TikTok, huh?
Okay, we are not reporting that tonight. We are only reporting the weird news. We will not talk about my TikTok addiction. But so seriously, I was like, I love TikTok because it does like introduce me to a lot of different things that I can then Google and take a look and find interesting. So this one there was a guy that posted this video, and I'll tell you the details about it, but he had posted this video of, have you ever heard of the Giant's Causeway in Ireland?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a definition of the Giant's Causeway, and I'm going to tell you what the video was. So it says the Giant's Causeway is an area of about 40,000 interlocking basalt columns as a result of an ancient volcanic fissure eruption. It's located in County Antrim, because like Ireland's split up by they're known by like County Cork, County, I don't know all of them. I'm not going to pretend like I'm a world traveler, but it's on the north coast of Northern Ireland, about 3 miles northeast of the town of Bushmills. So I'm actually going to just show, I'm going to share my screen here really quickly so that we can show the people that are watching on YouTube what it looks like. So let's do that.
That is very
okay.
cool looking.
So, yeah, do you see that? So this is what it is, and they call it the Giant's Causeway. So I'm going to read this article now because it was really incredibly interesting. The video was of this, somebody was on the Giant's Causeway, and they had recorded supposedly a secret door in the causeway. So they're basically saying that there's, that this is actually like where giants or, somebody else lives. So give me a second to pull up. And this is from the irishcentral.com. And they have different news stories and things like that, all about, guess what? Ireland. So the article says, this is from December 26th of 2022. So just a couple weeks ago. So it says certain odd rock formations found around Giant's Causeways are linked to the Irish mythological hero of, including the camel and the giant's boot. So basically, a video captured at the Giant Causeways in Northern Ireland could serve as proof of the legendary Finn McCool's existence. In the video shared on YouTube by Paranormal Library, a mysterious door can be seen closing amongst the rock formations at the world-famous site. Some people attribute the massive door to mythical giant Finn McCool, who, according to Irish folklore, created the stunning Giant's Causeway a long, long time ago. So, for centuries, the prevailing legend surrounding the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland was found that Fionn MacCumhaill, which is also known as Finn McCool, the mythical hunter warrior of Irish mythology associated with the Fenian cycle, was behind the causeway's existence, constructing it to reach his arch rival, a giant named Benendaner, also known as the Red Man, who's believed to roam Scotland, because they believed at some point, like, that the causeway actually connected like Ireland and Scotland. In the modern age, scientists have been able to attribute the formation of the 40,000 interlocking columns to volcanic eruptions some 50 or 60 million years ago. So I'm going to share my screen so we can watch this video really quickly. And here we go. So, giant doorway closing caught on camera. There was a live news report that tourists witnessed the giant, who supposedly wears a size 47 shoe, disappearing through a concealed doorway in the rock face. The footage was recorded on a mobile phone and shows the giant camouflage door closing.
Have some footage that has been taken on a mobile phone. Let's have a look at it.
Do you see that? This was the video I originally had seen. But like, you don't hear any kind of like, you can hear her reacting, but you don't hear any kind of like slam or any kind of noise amongst the rocks. And I'm thinking, did the giants that many years ago have the quiet closed latches?
Right. They might have had a nice gasket around there to help close it. I mean, he's had plenty of time to adjust it. But my question is, how did he get the hinges on it? That
Right.
And this is the kind of thing like, okay, you're not going to get me to believe there's a giant living in the rocks, but there's so much computer animation, it's hard to like, even when you really want to see that thing. And I that's, as soon as I see that stuff, I'm like, he needs a bigger house if he has a size 47 shoe. And how do they know that? How do they know that?
I have no idea. I think
The
it's part of the
cobbler that used
folklore.
to make his shoes.
Maybe. I didn't dive too much into the folklore, but I thought that it was funny that it actually made the news. Like, this legit made the news. But I have to say, it's not new news, because the video, I guess, and the story has been circulating. The earliest articles I found was 2015. And some people are saying that the video is actually created using like a mobile phone app. So like maybe they were looking at something else there, and then somebody decided that is a video or whatever. At any rate, I call bullshit on this one, obviously. I don't think that it's real. As badly as I want to believe in magic, I can't stand behind this story, but I just thought it was hilarious that it was
right. I also was wondering if, can they get like some kind of warrant to go into there to search around inside of his place? Or can we pry that door open? Did anybody try knocking?
He doesn't live by our rules.
Nobody knocked at his door just to see, like, hey, what's up?
Maybe we need to like know more about the folklore so we can get the private knockdown or something. I don't know. But anyway, I just thought it was hilarious. Like, some of the stuff that makes national news is pretty freaking hilarious to me. Anyway, but that was my second news story. So I'm sure you're going to do one better. What do you got?
Well, Ireland, I mean, they have a lot with the giants. I am actually watching something about their troll myths and whatnot. So,
oh yeah.
But then again, too, they are very interesting people.
Yeah.
So I looked up 3, and it was very difficult for me to decide the 2, because one, so it was interesting to me. This one, I'm not going to go into my dilemmas and my second guessing. Baba Vanga's predictions. I'm going to just call her Baba, because I'm not sure if I'm saying Vanga or Vanja, and I don't want to get too close to other words. But she is a blind clairvoyant who claimed to be having visions in her lifetime. After she went blind as a child, she lost her sight in a deadly storm where she was swept off her homeland in Bulgaria, causing a large amount of sand to get in her eyes. Sand in the eyes, of course, as we know, is the oldest trick in the book. Nicknamed the Nostradama of the Balkans, her visions have said to have been 85% correct and include the Chernobyl tragedy, the death of Princess Diane, and the dissolution of the the Soviet Union. The mystic passed away in 1996 at the age of 84. However, her prophecies live on. Excuse me. In 2002, two of Baba's predictions seemingly came true as she had foreseen water-related tragedies in the form of floods and droughts. Many countries, including England, experienced droughts over the summer, while Australia and Asia experienced intense floods. Despite a challenging 2022 for many, Baba's next forecast is full of further doom and gloom.
Shit.
So she's got a slew of stuff for 2023 already predicted. So she's been.
What news story decided to shit on 2023 already? Where did you
This
get
is
that?
the Mirror, which my understanding is one of the most reliable news sources
in the UK.
UK, so or anywhere really, right?
Right.
So,
I mean, no, many truths are said in jest, though. So
here's some really good ones. There's some good ones. Okay. Well, first off, the prediction seems to relate to a current Russia-Ukraine war. Again, has nothing to do with UFOs over Russia and Ukraine, but
that would have blew my mind. That would have just blew my mind.
Right, but it's funny that it blew your mind because it's talks about him launching a nuclear attack on the Ukraine. Of course, if this prediction comes true, mass destruction, consequences for the Ukraine and the rest of the world. And also, she mentions biological weapons. Some of the other more intense and dangerous ones that I'm not looking forward to is the solar tsunami. The blind mystic predicted a solar tsunami could take place in 2023 where the Earth's magnetic shield would be fatally destroyed. Solar storms would cause blackouts and communication failures. You would not be able to watch TikTok. The solar storms will send electrical charges as powerful as nuclear bombs from the sun directly to Earth, causing us to move back to the Dark Ages. Now, worse than that, this is where it all comes together. Alien attack on Earth 2023. It's probably going to be because Russia shot at them.
Probably.
So, foresaw a world covered in darkness following an alien invasion during one of her visions. She added in another prediction that the Earth's orbit could change. If this were to happen, the climate of the Earth would change massively. For example, the Earth moves closer to the sun, so it would suffer increasing radiation, skyrocketing temperatures. If it moves away, the world could descend into ice age with increased hours of darkness, which we do know that no planets orbit. Every planet has an elliptical orbit around the Earth, and that's part of the reason we have season changes. So maybe she's already right, and that's why we're having climate changes. It is because of the aliens. And it goes into more nuclear explosions and that we're going to start experimenting on humans in laboratories. So she has a couple other ones, but alien invasion I'm very concerned about this. And especially with the uprising and UFOs being attacked in Russia and solar tsunamis. We're not going to be able to watch.
I feel like she meant 3023.
No. This is 2023. Well, I think.
God dang it!
By then, TikTok will be something much more interactive.
Well, I just recently said though that like I kind of want to get rid of my cell phone. I kind of just want to kick it old school. I think I just want to get rid of it. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it, but I feel like
I feel that if you were to get yourself a brick, not a real brick, an actual old phone, flip phone or something.
That's what I'm thinking about doing.
Give your phone, your smartphone to Kaz. We'll see how long it takes before you break down. No pictures.
I really do it. My son has done it, and he's like got his He's got his master's in artificial intelligence, and like, dude he does not have a smartphone. He refuses. He just has like an old brick phone, T9,
Well,
no
it's because he's
website.
artificial intelligence. He knows. He knows
Yeah.
how to use
So I feel
one of
like I should
those.
just take a page from his book. But well, these were great stories. Thank you so much, Rob. This was really good. That last one, now I'm just gonna be stressed. Sorry, guys. Rob the fun squasher for the end of the episode. But no, these are great. We will make sure we have links to our news stories so that you guys can take a look at them. And thank you so much, Rob, for joining us tonight. Again, every other Monday we have our main one topic episode where we kind of take a deep dive into some really cool stuff, and then once a week we give you some weird news. So if you have a news story in your area or some news you want to share or a topic you'd like to hear us discuss, please reach out to us at connectedrealm.gmail.com. That's connectedrealm, all one word, at gmail.com. You can find us on Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pandora. Oh, I'm thinking it'll be in the show notes. I've lost track now. We just keep adding venues that we go on, and then of course you can watch us on YouTube if you want to see our lovely faces. All right, well, with that, thanks again, Rob. Have a great night for yourself. We're recording this at night, so and to all of you, stay weird, and until next time.